Hey there, folks. Welcome to another War of Rights map briefing. Today we're taking a look at Garland's Stand, one of the South Mountain maps. One of the ones that I think is pretty enjoyable, fairly well balanced. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? There is artillery on both sides. Functionally, I would say that the defenders are the ones who probably get far better use out of it, but the attackers can do some sneaky things potentially with artillery as well. So this is a Union attacking map, and here we are in Union spawn. The nominal Union battery is over here, and if you want to use it, you gotta there's no cav out yet, so you gotta manhandle that thing up and over the wall and move it to some place where you can start shooting something that matters, which is going to be quite a ways. Yep, all that way. So you don't want to do that. More likely, if the Union uses artillery, they may try to play Grand Theft Artillery with the CSA's arty because they can absolutely get in there. We'll take a look at CSA arty in a moment, but let's take a look at the paths that are available to the Union. I don't know if we can zoom up enough for this to matter. It gets confusing when you get in the woods, but if that's Union spawn and we're pretty close to the map boundary here, the tree line here is going to be your map boundary for most of it. You can push up to here, and then you're going to start to time out, and then you're going to push back toward the point, or actually just left of the point, to get in some rocks that we'll take a look at. The other push coming out of Union spawn, the right side push for the Union, it's going to follow. You can't go to the tree line. You got to stay in the kind of middle of the woods, and it hugs the map boundary, which ends up over there, and then there's a mad dash across that field to that cabin there. And then everything else is kind of a middle push. It uses the woods, right? This is a typical kind of South Mountain woodsy giant rock map. And so there are some rock hopping opportunities, some certainly some concealment and cover. You can push up to the fence here, and then you take a trade where you're usually shooting in soft cover to folks who have hard cover. You can use this snake fence to push up to the point of contention, or to near the point of contention, which, as we're talking about it, it is along this main road. You'll know you're in it because you'll hit T and it'll say capturing or defending. So in terms of the more common pushes that you tend to see early, I think the Union frequently does a big left push. Again, this is the Union left. And so, yeah, we're hugging the map boundary here. We're coming through the woods. And the road is the warning sign that things might get hot and heavy pretty quickly. What the Union is likely going for, you can kind of see it in the distance there, is that clump of rocks behind the point. Now, the CSA arty, I said we would take a look at it, so let's take a look at it. It's fairly abundant, I think. 4 guns and caissons for a map. That ain't too open. And so what the CSA may do is, well, they'll turn these things. They may put some guns, maybe designated canister guns, and others might actually have shell or case and try to shoot those. And what some CSA arty guys will do is they'll try to pull those guns back. Yeah, not only to have angles largely down the road and then at the field here. You can get angles as well to shoot in other places. But they'll try to finagle the guns and the caissons in a way that make it difficult for the Union to come from that snake fence kind of over here to maybe where this mobile caisson is, but to try to cordon off as much of that as possible and force the Union to go wide. Early on, I don't think the Union minds that at all. What they're pushing for, they can get into this set of rocks here. It's nice if you can do that. It's a place to regroup and get healthy. This set of rocks here is, I think, just at the map's, yeah, it's just at the map's edge, and you might time out running around it. So if you can hold these 2 set of rocks as the Union and force the CSA to come to you, it's probably going to be good to get down their tickets early. As is frequently the case for attackers, and I think specifically on wooded maps where your sight lines are limited, you don't want to lose your flags. Right? And so you got to be careful as the Union that if you're in here, that you came in with enough, and hopefully you're holding your sister pair of rocks, or at least denying them to the CSA, and that you have good flag bearers. I think your most experienced NCO probably ought to be your flag bearers. They can do most of the other NCO things, barking orders and paying attention to what happens, and then they can pull those flags out. The CSA can and will frequently come in behind you and they may try to pinch you with 2 groups going in one side, 2 groups going in the other, and then wiping you and leaving your flags there. And then your unit is pretty much combat ineffective until you get those flags to despawn, or you got to try to pay a heavy ticket toll to get them back. And the CSA is usually going to win that because they're going to be embedded in those rocks. They're going to know you want to come for those flags. And if you can't press the attack, then that black timer, which is one of the enemies of attackers, continues to tick down closer to 0. But if the Union can embed themselves in these rocks, and the CSA is unable to dislodge them, then the Union has some free reign to do some rock hopping, using some trees, and then to get in here and try to make it bloody by the point. This is not one that I frequently see played cap recap. It's maybe not quite like Harper's Graveyard, in that if the defenders lose it, it's a heck of a time getting it back, or even readout. CSA can get this back if the Union takes it, but they usually don't want to do that. That means that the CSA is cut off from their artillery. The Union artillerists may be playing Grand Theft Artillery with that, and either trying to take those guns for themselves, or at least trying to take as many as possible so that they're not available to the CSA defenders. So Union can come all the way through these woods, and I think we're getting close to the map boundary. No, for the Union, I'm pretty sure we win out, but what the Union can do is they can come all the way down here, and they can get into that White House. It is habitable for what it is worth. And now you've pretty much wrapped around to the other side. So this is, I guess, where we'll pick up the story of, well, what about a Union right push? So spawn, again, it's back there, and the Union will push through these trees. And the timer will tell them when they've gone too far. But yeah, we're just about to go too far, and we need to get back in bounds. So that White House there, frequently the Union is not going to look to shoot it at. What they want to do is they want to move as quickly as possible. There is an angle where they can also then get up and over into the road if they want. They can get into the corn a little ways and use that half stone wall, or more likely, why not just go for a full stone wall? But if the Union can embed themselves in this corner, they have shots down into the point. The CSA tries to come, they can get shots back down there, and they can hold this cabin. They can really harass, right? This is pub play. They can really harass CSA spawn, which we're pretty much looking into right now, or at least a lot of CSA come from spawn, and they can pick off a lot of folks in skirmishing and out of lines. The Union can get into this backyard as well. So defenders also want to have their flags, even though it's not a huge march for them. You don't want the Union intercepting your skirmishing and out of line reinforcements. And the counterplay to the Union build up here is sometimes the CSA will build up back in those rocks and in the woods here. They'll move through the corn quickly, probably not taking their flags with them, try to melee down whatever group is here, make it quick, and then pull back, get healthy, and then go looking for the other Union company or companies that now don't have allies. They have their flags down, and it beats down the attack for a little while. So anyways, that's the right side push, and right once you're back here, you can also push in those woods behind the point. And then the kind of center push, as I mentioned earlier, you can push down that snake fence frequently for, I'll say, reasons. People pay a lot of attention to that set of rocks there. Yeah, it is absolutely close to cap. I guess for the Union, if you're looking to melee on the stone wall, make it bloody, this is a place to build up. But if you hold this, you got to try to hold a couple other positions to support it, right? If you don't hold that area over there, then you get shot in the side from over there. If you don't hold areas down here, the CSA can and will come in and shoot you in the side from here, and pretty soon your hard cover is really not hard cover at all. The CSA can, for their part, don't be surprised if you're playing as the Union, CSA can push far into these woods. They can sit just a ways outside of Union spawn. That can be a double-edged sword, but don't be surprised, Union, if you are huffing it from spawn. You want to be really careful and smash that T button if you see folks coming up on you quickly, because it might be a CSA skirmisher group or even a Rambo who's just looking to kill more Rambos before his number gets called. So this is one, I think, again, anecdotally in pub play, I far more experience in it in organized play. It feels like it's usually a pretty good Union attacking map. As long as the Union officers have made a decision, we're going to go here and force, or this is how we're going to play this. As long as there's a plan, it doesn't have to be the most brilliant plan. Brilliance is overrated here. It's about execution and coordination. But if the CSA, equally so, is well organized, if it uses its artillery, which will only be to kind of minor effect, but if the CSA coordinates and plays the defeat in detail game, say the Union gives them an opening by maybe sending 2 groups to the rocks and then 2 flags to the house over there, the CSA should wisely throw 4 against 2, wipe the 2, and then throw 4 against the other 2 and wipe those. So it is... there's a lot that can happen with this one. It usually always feels fun. Stay close, though, to one another. Stay in formation in this map. The terrain, the fact that there's a lot of left, right, and also quite a bit forward and backwards movement means that there are more opportunities for Ramboing skirmishing tickets. And I think frequently the side that has fewer of those is generally going to win the round. So that's Garland Stand. This one I enjoy, and if you had no idea how to approach it, hopefully this gives you a little bit to chew on.